But we're all here, and if we're native to the earth, we're indigenous. And if we are indigenous, we all have the ability to awaken that is lying dormant in our DNA at any moment that we decide and we say yes, we consent, and then those ancient elders are there to teach us. And so I like to say a lot that in order for us to really live elementally, it is first connecting with all the things I said, and then we're naturally able to start awakening the ancient wisdom that lives within us, that indigenous wisdom that lives within us. And then we get to really utilize the power of that wisdom. And for me, I don't see why we wouldn't want to. If there are teachers and masters, why wouldn't we want to listen to that? Why wouldn't we want to receive that wisdom and then use that in our life to benefit us?
Somebody recently, who's of African American descent, he asked me how I felt about the white South Africans coming here.
Oh, interesting, because of what's happening right now in South Africa.
Yeah, happening, and a lot of times people get lost in that because the apartheid that went in. It took me a couple days to unfold this, but because of the apartheid that went during our lifetime, that went on in South Africa, a lot of people might just side with one side.
Yeah, I can understand that as well.
So I had to really sit back and think about it, because for me, the answer to everything is yes, no, maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
So for no matter what region they're coming from, I can't just say yes to everybody.
For sure.
And I'm not in a position to say yes or no to anybody, but if somebody asks my opinion, then I can give some options on that. And part of my resistance, and I would say for it to unfold and have an understanding of it, because I thought that what Nelson Mandela was very beautiful, avoiding a genocide by having the whites that were part of the apartheid apologize to the blacks of South Africa, and the blacks accept the apology, and then one generation later, that's unfolding.
Right.
So that was a positive in my mind when humanity got it right.
Right.
So I have to say, well, it wasn't perfect, but it was good. But now it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
And if blacks in that region are killing whites in that region, and we have laws on the books to help those people, I'm just like, that's a yes. That's a yes, because let's say specifically some of their ancestors did do something
right
to these black people. Doesn't necessarily mean that they did it.
Yeah, why do we have to keep the cycle going? At what point do we say we're going to create something different?
Yeah, because I don't feel this way, but I know a lot of African Americans feel that well, we're always doing that. Nobody else is doing that.
Meaning what?
We're always saying, okay, we're going to accept you. Yes, we're going to take the higher ground. We're going to do the positive thing. We're going to do the right stuff, even though we're wrong. They feel, a lot of African Americans, I don't feel this way, but a lot of African Americans feel like we're always doing that. Other people that I've had in that frame, and I don't know that to necessarily be the case. I've met probably about 10 to 20, because one of my friends here in San Diego played rugby, and they have a lot of South Africans that would come over. Every single one of them was nicest white South Africans.
I visited South Africa. I mean, they're the nicest people I've ever met. I agree. Yeah.
And also, and you're not doing it, but we can't discount the other side of what's going on.
For sure. I mean, there's always more to the story. I'll just say that.
Yeah, and we also can't discount that there is some traumatic stuff that happened a short time ago, and how was that? How it's obviously not resolved.
Sure.
We can say they're not right, but we got to look into what's going on there.
Right.
If we want to sustainably do that.
Right.
Politicians that are calling out for death to white
Right.
people in that way.
Right.
I cannot align with that.
Right. Exactly.
I could say, okay, this is going on to a certain extent. We can't discount, because a lot of the way that some, not all, some African Americans are moving. We can't discount slavery from 400 years ago. We can't. I mean, Ocean Beach, where I throw some of my cannabis things. During my lifetime, they were burning black people's house down. We can't discount that situation. Still, I don't justify violence towards white people.
Right.
To a whole thing, but we have to be able to look at this stuff instead of like I'm team masculine energy. No, I'm team feminine energy. You just can't side with people immediately. But we got to look at if we want to sustainably resolve this pain that's causing and putting more pain in our future. We have to really sit back and feel throughout our 7 chakras. Thinking is feeling. Thinking is feeling and having a compliment, but we got to take action instead of just sitting from our ivory towers. Mine would be an ebony tower. Sitting from my ebony tower and just looking down on people and judging and laughing. Yeah. Krisna and I could just we could just sit and we do this a little, but we could just sit and not take any action and just laugh at people and feel really good about ourselves.
Right. It's a lighthearted way to cope through difficult situations.
We should do that more. But still, keep doing the work. We should do that more.
For sure. Just thinking about this topic, and this is just one of the many topics that can be heavy in the world, at this time. There's the bombing and other things that are happening outside of this, country. We're here in the U.S., and then there's things that are happening here, and there's always many sides to any story, and there's many things that are unfolding. But even just thinking about it through the lens that I've been intending to share with you today around living elementally, if someone is focused on all of that rage and taking action by creating a chant to murk some population, that's a lot of fire energy, and it is not balanced. So food for thought when we encounter situations or people who are maybe in that scope of energy, much like what Steve said, I don't like the way you're talking about your past self. And stop and think, how can I view this from a compassionate lens? Do I resonate with it so much within the internalized maybe oppression, suppression that I've experienced that now I'm also getting fired up, and I agree with that extremist point of view, or whatever side that I may be on. How am I viewing this? And this is something that is really important for us as people to utilize the air energy in the mind for what it's really intended for. It's not meant to bring on all kinds of anxieties because we're worrying about something that hasn't happened or something that happened in the past. It's really there to be in the present and to utilize all the knowledge that we've acquired throughout our lifetime to come up with some ideas for your present to take action or to cope or to bridge the gap in our relationships or whatever that might look like for us. So
a lot of it's masculine in nature to say all emotions are bad.